A man pretended to be crippled to find out who truly loves him. A girl, Sonia, who is working as a maid in a house, is in the kitchen cooking when her boss, Daniel's mother, comes in and asks why the food is not ready yet for her son. Sonia answers and says it is almost ready. The woman tells her that if her son leaves the house without having breakfast, the maid should consider herself fired, and she leaves. Sonia comes to the dining table with the breakfast, serves Daniel and his mother, and leaves for the kitchen. Daniel opens the plate and sees slices of bread with fried eggs. He calls Sonia, who is coming back with tea, and asks why he's being served with a dirty plate. Sonia says she washed the plate thoroughly and does not think it is dirty. The mother asks her not to worry about the plate and pours the hot tea on Sonia's body. She asks Sonia to go back and serve the food properly, but Daniel stands and says he has lost his appetite. He leaves the dining room. Sonia clears the tables and leaves for the kitchen in tears. Sonia is on a call with her younger brother at the university. He's complaining about not having enough food stuff and how he needs money to get a few things he needs for school. Sonia says she's yet to receive her salary and asks that he manages till she can find something to do. She says he should focus on his studies so that she will take care of the money aspect. He thanks her and they drop the call. Daniel's friend and business partner comes to visit. They are talking about business and Sonia comes to serve them wine. The friend asks if Daniel has gotten a new maid. He asks him where they get them from. Daniel says he has a job agency that brings them for him anytime he wants them. Daniel says he does not think Sonia is going anytime soon, and the friend agrees. They continue their conversation about work. Daniel's girlfriend, Diva, is just coming back from abroad and she comes to stay with Daniel. His mom is happy to see her. They hug and laugh with each other. She sees Sonia and says Daniel already got a new maid. She asks Daniel why he likes to employ pigs. She asks Sonia to turn around and questions Daniel's choice. She asks Sonia to come carry her bag and asks her not to scratch it because she knows her entire generation cannot afford it. Daniel's mom asks her not to stress herself by minding Sonia. Diva and Daniel's mother go inside to catch up and gist. Daniel and Diva are in the room talking about how much they missed each other. Suddenly, Diva says she wants him to fire Sonia because she doesn't like her. Daniel says she cannot conclude because she does not know the girl. She says she just does not like her and insists on Sonia being fired. Daniel gets angry at her and goes to sleep on the bed. Daniel and Diva are at the dining table and Sonia brings them their breakfast of bread and fried eggs. Diva gets angry because Sonia did not toast her bread. Sonia says she thought she would prefer it that way. Diva insults and calls her dumb for not thinking that everyone has preferences. Daniel tries to calm her down, but she blames him for not firing Sonia when she asked. Daniel says her reaction was unnecessary and she should let the girl walk in peace. She gets angry and leaves the dining table. Sonia is washing clothes outside. Diva brings her clothes to Sonia and asks her to wash them. She asks that she be careful with them as they are costly. Sonia stands to wash the clothes inside the washing machine. Diva stops her and questions if Sonia has ever used a washing machine before in her life, as per the poor person that she is. She tells her to wash her clothes with her hands and they must all be clean and leave. Sonia goes to her friend and laments about what she's going through in the house. She says she thought the mother was her problem till the girlfriend came along. She laments and her friend asks her to leave the job. Sonia says she cannot leave because she signed a 6-month contract before accepting the job. She regrets her decision and says the remaining months feel like an eternity to her. Her friend asks her to endure the whole thing since she cannot quit. Sonia is cleaning and she gets a call from her brother who thanks her for the money she sent to him. She says he should focus on his studies and take care of himself. Diva listens in on her conversation and asks Sonia about the money she gave to her brother because Sonia has not been paid her salary. Sonia says she borrowed the money from her friend. Diva warns her and asks her she prays that no money is missing in the house or else she will skin Sonia alive. She hisses and walks away while Sonia continues with her cooking. Daniel is at the doctor's office who tells him his blood pressure is high. He asks that Daniel reduces his stress level. Daniel says he's doing his best, but the doctor says his best is not enough. The doctor tells him that if he does not take heed, he might just give Daniel a bed in the hospital. Daniel laughs and says he does not enjoy coming to the hospital. The doctor asks him to be careful. Daniel is at the dining table, hungry and waiting for his food. Diva comes in with a tray of food she had prepared for him. Daniel tastes the meal and spits it out. He calls her, who comes back from the kitchen with water. He asks her why the food is salty. She tasted it and could not eat it as well. Daniel calls Sonia and asks that she makes him something to eat. Diva gets angry and asks why Daniel had to disgrace her in the presence of the maid. Daniel tries to explain, but she hisses and leaves. Daniel's friend comes to visit and asks if Daniel trusts Diva. He asks how much Daniel thinks she cares. Daniel defends her, saying he knows she loves and cares for him. He accuses his friend of harboring thoughts in his head. He says Diva can do anything but not cheat. The friend says she might not be cheating, but he knows she's not a good person and his instinct instincts are always right. Daniel changes the subject to work. Daniel's mom and Diva are in the living room talking about their marriage. She says she wants it private, but the mother says she wants it as elaborate as possible because Daniel is her only son. Daniel comes back from work, greets his mother, and ignores Diva's greetings. She asks Daniel's mother what that was, and she says maybe he had a bad day. Diva is worried, and the mother asks her not to because Daniel loves her. Daniel comes down to meet Sonia asleep on a chair at the kitchen entrance. He wakes her and asks why she's sleeping there and not inside. She says Diva asks her to stay awake in case she needs anything before midnight. Daniel asked her to go to bed. She asks if he needs anything, but he says no and goes into the kitchen. Daniel's mom says she'll be leaving for London the next day. Diva says she wants to come with her, but the mother says no and asks who will take care of Daniel when she's gone. Diva says it appears that Daniel does not need her. The mother says he does, but his pride is not letting him show it. Daniel asks how long she will be gone for and says he will miss her. The mother asks if Daniel just wants her to keep staying in the house with him. Diva gets angry and leaves. Daniel's mother asks him to treat Diva nicely and he says he cannot be a man she puts in her pocket. The woman tells him to compromise more, and every marriage works with compromise. Daniel changes the topic. Sonia is on her way out when Diva stops her to ask where she's going. Sonia says she's going to see her friend. Diva asks if she has finished doing all the chores. Sonia says yes, and she's entitled to a day off every week, and that day is her day off. Diva will not listen and asks her to prepare her lunch. She says if Sonia leaves the house, she should not bother coming back. Daniel is at the hospital in bed. The doctor is checking his vitals and he asks the nurse to come and check on him in the next 30 minutes. Sonia and Diva are seated with him. Diva complains about the hospital and their hygiene. Sonia tells her that the hospital is clean. Diva hisses and says she cannot stand being there and needs to leave. She asks Sonia to let her know as soon as Daniel wakes up. Sonia is asleep on the chair when Daniel wakes. He wakes her and asks of Diva, and Sonia lies and says she stepped out. Not long after, Diva comes in with a bag and asks Sonia why she did not call her. Sonia says she just woke up. She gives her a dirty look and asks her to go and call the doctor. Sonia leaves. Diva asks if Daniel is fine and says she brought him food. Daniel comes back home in a wheelchair. Sonia sees him from where she's cleaning and goes to help him. Diva asks her to leave him alone and let him do it himself. Sonia protests that he needs help. Diva shouts at her that she should leave him, but she does not listen. Daniel asks Sonia to not worry. Diva comes down from the stairs and sits on the chair. She looks at Daniel and says sorry. She tells him she knows he would have been doing all of these things himself and gives him a disgusting look. Daniel's mom calls Diva to ask how he is. She says he is fine and that she's taking care of him. The mom thanks her for taking care of her son while she's away. Diva says if she does not, who else will? Well, Sonia will take care of him. She ends the call and hisses. She already looks so frustrated from taking care of Daniel. Sonia goes to her friend and laments about how Diva is treating Daniel. She calls her a demon. She laments about how Diva treated her badly after she covered up for her at the hospital. The friend said she had to be patient if she intends to keep her job. Daniel is home with Diva. He says he's hungry. Diva says there's no food in the house and they should order food. He says he wants homemade food. She says she cannot cook for him because he does not like her food. He asks after Sonia and she says the day is Sonia's day off and she has gone to visit her friend. Daniel is at the dining table later when Sonia comes to serve him his food. He called her and apologized for asking her to come cook for him even when it was her day off. She says he should not worry and she goes back to the kitchen. Later that night, Diva caresses Daniel and asks that they make love. Daniel says he is tired. She asks him if he does not find her attractive and complains that he has been depriving her. She asks for money and Daniel says he does not have it. He complains and says she has never asked him about his business or how he's not making any money lately. She says nothing and Daniel continues to sleep. Sonia is seated at the entrance of the kitchen eating. Diva comes down and shouts at the fact that Sonia is eating meat. She gets angry and asks why she's eating with him. Sonia asks if she's not supposed to and Diva slaps her face. Sonia says she's entitled to eat anything she cooks in the house according to her contract. Diva takes the meat, throws it on the floor and stomps on it. She asks Sonia to finish the food without the meat and goes away. Sonia comes to give David his food in the living room. He calls her back and hands her an envelope with money. He says it is his way of saying thank you for taking care of him all this while. Sonia says she cannot accept it, but Daniel insists. Diva runs from the stairs and collects the money from Sonia. She gets angry at Daniel for giving Sonia money when she asks him for money and he says he does not have. Diva is on a call with her ex-boyfriend. She asks him to stop calling her, but he says he misses her and cannot stop thinking about her. Sonia comes and stays to listen to their conversation. Diva tells her ex-boyfriend to leave her alone and she's in a relationship. She drops the call and sees Sonia behind her. She asks if she heard anything and Sonia says no, that she only came to ask if she could serve the food or not. Diva is skeptical but asks her to go. Sonia goes to her friend to tell her about what she overheard. Sonia says she's convinced that Diva is having an affair. The friend says she has no proof. Sonia sympathizes with Daniel and says he does not deserve any of those things. The friend is surprised and asks Sonia not to forget that even Daniel made her life miserable. Sonia defends Daniel and says he's a good man, does not deserve all he's going through. This surprises the friend and Sonia goes on defending Daniel. Daniel's friend asks Daniel to be patient for things to naturally unfold. Daniel says he's tired. His friend says there's nothing wrong with his life and everything is flourishing. Daniel says Diva is around. The friend says he knows Daniel loves her, but he cannot let him ruin his own life. He says they need more time to catch her for who she truly is. Daniel asks his friend not to speak ill of Diva. Later that day, Diva comes down from the stairs with her suitcase. She tells Daniel that she's leaving. She cannot continue to take care of him. She says he's lame and broke and she cannot afford that lifestyle. She says she's not going forever and will be back. She just needs to clear her head. Daniel cries and pleads, but she does not listen and leaves. He continues to cry. Sonia comes to meet Daniel to ask if he wants to eat. He says he's not hungry. She tells him he needs to eat something. He shouts at her and says he's not hungry. She leaves and he continues to cry. Later, Daniel drinks himself to death. Sonia comes to take the bottle away from him, but he stops her. They kiss and end up having sex. Sonia comes back from the market to meet Daniel and his friend. She greets them and asks how Daniel is feeling. He says it is none of her business and asks that she go and make food. The friend asks what is wrong. He tells him and says he does not know what Sonia must be thinking by smiling sheepishly at him. The friend laughs and says Sonia likes him. He says she's better than Diva. Daniel says he does not want to hear anything he has to say. Sonia is in the kitchen and starts to cry because Daniel has been avoiding her. She blames herself for thinking he's different from the other men. She goes to serve him his veggie food. He says he doesn't like it. Sonia tells him he has to eat it because the doctor says he has to eat healthy. He says he doesn't want it. She does not listen and leaves. Sonia goes to share her pain with her friend. Her friend blames her for being so naive and thinking that Daniel loves her. The friend advised her to leave the house before Daniel messes with her head more. She said she can't leave because he needs help and he needs her. Her friend says she's just looking for an excuse to stay, but Sonia says it is not true and he truly needs help. She says she thinks she has fallen in love with him. Her friend blames her for falling for someone who can never love her. Sonia cries. Diva comes back and begs Daniel. She says she was confused and did not know what to do. She tells him she loves him and is sorry for leaving him alone. Sonia walks in on them and leaves the kitchen. Daniel hugs Diva and they are fine again. Sonia is in the kitchen slicing onions when Diva walks in to take water from the fridge. She asks her to slice the onions properly so that they look big, but Sonia does not answer her. She asks if Sonia has greeted her that day and Sonia says she does not owe her anything in the house. She says it is not in her contract to greet anyone in the house. Diva pours the water in her hand on Sonia and asks that she knows her place. She leaves. Sonia is crying in her room. She then goes to deliver something that came for Daniel to him. It's a hard drive. He connects it to his laptop and sees Diva's sex tape. This annoys him. He shuts the laptop and cries. Sonia's friend tells Sonia that she has gone too far by giving Daniel the sex tape. Sonia says she did not and Daniel needs to know Diva for who she truly is. She said she does not deserve him and he deserves to know the truth. The friend tells her she did not make the right decision, but Sonia is convinced that she did. Daniel drinks himself day and night. He's sad about Diva. Sonia goes to meet him and asks that he eats. He says he's not hungry and shouts that Sonia should leave. He cries and asks her to leave. His friend comes over and she tells him he has not eaten all day. The friend asks how long he would continue to treat himself that way. Daniel does not say anything. The friend asks Daniel to stop mourning someone who does not care for him and focus on the one in front of him, but Daniel does not listen. Sonia comes to meet him later that night as she has made his bed and his bathing water is ready. He says he does not need it. Sonia says he needs to rest, but he asks her to leave him alone and starts to cry. He says she should leave like everyone else does. She sits in the armchair and they both cry together. Daniel is getting better and his friend comes to visit. He says he's happy that Daniel is now fine and bouncing back. Daniel says he cannot believe all of those things happened. The friend says he told him, but Daniel did not believe him. He says he's happy that Daniel got his heart shattered to reset his brain. He asks Daniel to forget about Diva and focus on people around him. Sonia goes to meet her friend and talks about how she regrets her actions. She blames herself and regrets not leaving things the way they were. Her friend sympathizes with her and asks that she take it easy on herself. The friend asks her to leave the house, but Sonia still insists on not leaving. Sonia serves Daniel his meal of jollof rice and he asks why she would serve him that for breakfast. She says he loves the meal, but he asks her to take it out of his face. She carries it away and cries. Daniel is in the living room when his mom comes back. He hugs her and they talk about how much they miss each other. She says he looks slim and calls Sonia. She accuses her of not taking care of Daniel. She says Daniel has been the one refusing to eat. She shuts her up and asks that she goes and prepares something for him to eat. He asks his mom to to take it easy and not shout. Daniel's friend comes to visit again. Daniel thanks him for being there for him and taking care of the business while he is away. The friend then tells him that he thinks Sonia is in love with him. Daniel says he cannot get together with a maid and that she is not his type. Sonia eavesdrops on their conversation and is sad about what she hears. They change the conversation when she comes to serve them water. Daniel's mom goes to ask Sonia in the kitchen if Daniel has been fed. She says she served him his meal, but he says he does not want to eat. She slaps her and accuses her of talking back at her. She asked Sonia to take the food to him and walks away. Sonia carries her bags and says she quits. She says she doesn't want to work for him anymore. She says she has already dropped her resignation letter on the table and leaves. Daniel stares at the resignation letter but does not stop her from leaving. It is all for the best. Daniel's mom comes and sees Daniel up from his wheelchair. He tells his mom about how he planned with his doctor. He told the doctor to tell everyone that he could not walk again. The mother is happy and asks why he did not tell her. He says he knows his mother is close to Diva and he does not want to ruin his plans. The mother is Halo and hugs him again. Daniel's friend goes to see Sonia and begs her to come back to the house. Sonia says she cannot because she knows Daniel does not like her. The friend says he knows she loves Daniel and she should not leave without a fight. Sonia insists on not going back to the house. Daniel goes to the fridge to get something to eat and sees everything empty. His mom comes and tells him that Sonia does most of the cooking in the house and if he needs anything, he should cook it himself or order it. She leaves him and he groans. Daniel's friend comes to see Daniel and hands him Sonia's address. He says he should go after her. Daniel says he's not and maybe Sonia's leaving is for the best. He says that she deserves better. The friend asks him to not give up without a fight, but he does not listen. Daniel tells his mother that he is in love with Sonia. The mother is surprised and asks, since when? He says it has been since she left. The woman thinks something is wrong with him and asks that he gets checked. She worries about her social status and class. He says he's tired of having her meddle in his life. He says he loves Sonia and will be with her. He asks her to think of his happiness. She later agrees with him. Sonia's friend begs her to forgive Daniel. She says she needs to hear him out, but Sonia refuses. She says after all he has put her through, he cannot just come and apologize and expect everything to be fine. She insists on not forgiving him. Daniel comes to Sonia's house and apologizes to her. He says he's sorry for the way he treated her. She finally accepts his apology. He asked when she will be coming back to the house because he misses her cooking. Sonia gets angry, hisses and leaves. She comes back and still meets Daniel sitting outside her house. He asks that she listens to him. He said he doesn't want her back as a maid, but as his wife. He says he loves her. Both of them hug. Love Portraits paints a picture of how love can be and how hard it can be sometimes to find true love. It is a story truly worth watching. You can watch it on YouTube.